Okay, good evening everybody. Welcome to downtown Miami. We are reporting live from the Southeast Financial Center here on the corner of Southeast 2nd Street. We're going to be live streaming for about 1 hour tonight. I do have to run a little bit early because I do have to catch a flight very early in the morning tomorrow. But tomorrow is going to be a very busy day. As you know, it's kind of crazy to think about, but today was the last day of January. The last day of the month. January has officially come and gone. Tomorrow is February 1st. Now, it's very important the first day of the month for a couple reasons, specifically tomorrow. As you know, tomorrow is the conclusion of the FOMC meeting, or the Federal Open Market Committee meeting. So tomorrow we are going to get the updated or the new monetary policy guidelines. Now, if you look at the futures market, pretty much pricing in, it's almost a given that we're probably going to get a 25 basis point rate hike, which should bring the target range to about 4.5 to 4 3/4, up from the current target range of about 4.25 to 4.5%. Now, this week, as we make our way through the week to Friday, as we know, the first Friday of every single month, we also get the unemployment data. We get the non-farm payrolls, which is going to be very, very important because we are going to get an update on the unemployment rate. Now, the reason why I think that's important to keep in mind is because if you think back to some of the live streams we were doing in New York, we were speaking about specific Fed presidents, such as New York Fed President John Williams, and the like, where they said, we would be comfortable and we would actually be okay with an unemployment rate getting up to about 5% in the United States before any material, pivot or backing off in the increase of the Fed funds rate. Well, if you think back to last month, the first business day of the month in January, the unemployment rate actually went down, surprisingly. So we're actually going in the opposite way. But, what have we been reading about in the media? You look at the Wall Street Journal, look at the New York Times, turn on CNN or Fox News, whatever media publication you listen to. We've been having a wave of tech layoffs, specifically in the tech sector. So maybe that will push the unemployment rate up a little bit. But I think everybody is very eager to see what the Federal Reserve will say tomorrow. Now, I want to touch on something really quickly because I know we didn't have a live stream yesterday. 2 days ago, when we were doing the Markets a Look Ahead live stream on Sunday, we talked about the housing market. Now, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Let me see if I can do this. For some reason, I'm locked out of my Nightbot account, which kind of stinks. But everybody, take a look in the chat. I just put something there. This is a link to the National Association of Realtors website. Now, pending home sales actually increased about 2.5% in December. This is ending its 6-month slide. So as we think about existing home sales versus new home sales, I think this is going to be something very, very important to watch, because there's a lot of talk and a lot of speculation on Wall Street and on Main Street that as the Federal Reserve continues to tighten, as the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates, well, there's probably going to be a pretty high correlation to a higher 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which should taper off some of the demand or some of the buying that we've been seeing. I think I had one other thing for you guys before we get started. Oh yeah, take a look at the semiconductor index. So one of the indices, or I should say ETFs, that I look at is the iShares Semiconductor ETF. The ticker is SOXX. Okay, so what I want you to do is take a look at a daily chart and put a 50-day and a 200-day moving average on there. And what you'll see is price action has finally broken above both major moving averages. And one of the things we've been talking about in the live stream is that, look, if we think the market is going to put in any sort of material bottom, we definitely need participation from the semiconductor sector, because that is the lifeblood, if you will, for the economy. All the new innovation, all of the new technologies is going to rely on semiconductors. So if we do not have participation from the semiconductor index, I don't know, I have a pretty hard time believing in the rallies. So it's definitely some good news there that semiconductors are rallying. Team, that was a long intro, but let's say hello to everybody in the chat, and let's head outside. It's kind of humid out today, but it was a beautiful day. It was about 82 degrees, bright sunshine here in Miami, Florida. Once again, we are reporting live from the 200 Southeast Financial Center. This is the temporary home of Citadel Securities, Ken Griffin's mega hedge fund and market maker. Hopefully everybody had a great Tuesday. Let's see who we have in the chat. I see my good friend British Gray, what's up? There is here, Carol Reevy, Sparks Carnival, the one and only, good to see you. Richard Vogel, Lena Sandoval, Nicole Smith, CM is here, what's up? Good to see you guys. Y Cruz says good evening, welcome. Colleen, Hawaii is here, good to see you. Hopefully the weather has been fantastic in Hawaii, just like it's been here in Miami. Sandra Dickinson is here, says, hey Tom, good to see you. I bet you had a long day, how are you doing? Today was a good day. I got a lot done. It was a gorgeous day. I mean, I've been here in Miami for probably about 2 weeks now, and every single day, guys, we are going to head towards Brickell and Brickell City Center. Little Larry Sellers is here. Welcome. Sabrina Fair, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Sparks Carnival says January ISM Manufacturing Index at 10. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's going to come in at 10, is it? Oh, you're saying at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. You're right. Sorry about that, Sparks Carnival. It's been... Oh, I think we may be having some buffering. Hold on. Give me one moment. I think we should be back now. But yeah, that is correct. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we are going to have the Institute for Supply Management, one of the most important leading indicators. Hold on here. Are we buffering? I'm not sure if my phone is malfunctioning or it's good. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if we're not buffering. Maybe there is a little buffering, which is strange. We usually never buffer here. Hey, sunshine after rain, what's up? Good to see you. Dallas F says we're going in and out a little bit. Interesting. You know, maybe I need to reset my network settings. I don't know, we'll see. I think as we get closer to Brickell, the buffering should stop. You know, they were doing a ton of work here for the Miami Marathon. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. We had a big marathon here on Sunday. I actually wish I could have attended it to watch. Unfortunately, I could not. Hey, Robert is here. Says, hey, Tom, Nashville. Oh, it's freezing rain and ice. Oh my God, that's horrible. Now, here's the crazy thing. In New York City, here's the Metro Mover. Metro Mover right here outside of the Whole Foods. Now, this weekend in New York City, we are going to get another crazy polar vortex, just absolutely abysmal weather. I think it's going to be below 0 degrees. With the wind chill, it could get down to -10 on Saturday and Sunday. That is just absolutely brutal, brutal weather. So definitely not looking forward to that. But guys, tomorrow is the first business day of the month. So as we know, every first business day of every single month, the Institute for Supply Management releases the Purchasing Managers Index. And last month was the first month. Oh, there's a nice dog here. But last month was the first month where the PMIs actually turned negative. And what I mean by that is, generally speaking, any reading above 50 signals expansion in the manufacturing sector of the United States economy, and any reading below 50 signals contraction. But, you know, I think it's really good to do a quick review here, that in my view, it's not necessarily the number that matters too much. Looks like they're having some sort of an event or an outing here. Maybe they're promoting some sort of new alcohol, who knows? Yo, Mike C, what's up? But what's more important is look at the trajectory of those PMIs, right? Are the PMIs rolling over and declining, or are the PMIs accelerating and going from, let's say, 48 to 50 to 50 to 52, and so on and so on. Now, we review this almost every single time. We're looking at the Aston Martin building, by the way. This building is almost done. I cannot wait until this building is complete. It's definitely one of my favorite buildings in the entire Miami area. Now, it's so critical that if you guys work or operate in Excel, one of the best, I would say, and easiest sort of models you can build that I think is most helpful is just to plot the trajectory of the PMIs. So if you go to Microsoft Excel, open up a brand new worksheet, and what I would do is go to the Institute for Supply Management's website and scrape all of the historical data. You know, all of this data is completely free and publicly available. All you have to do is export that data to Excel, and you could actually plot either on like a line chart or a dot plot the trajectory of the PMIs. Now, if you go back, let's say, to the 2008 financial crisis, one of the things that you'll notice is when the PMIs tend to get a little bit peaky, and you'll notice when the PMIs tend to trough, right? So, another thing that you could do is you could overlay that with the price action of the S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, as well as the NASDAQ. And what you'll notice is that the PMIs are literally, in and of itself, just a visual of the business cycle, right? So once we put all of these things together, we talk about monetary policy from the Federal Reserve, which we are going to hear tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow is the conclusion of the FOMC meeting, where probably going to get a 25 basis point rate hike. So when we put all these things together, we'll be able to see whether the PMIs are going to expand. Is manufacturing capacity in the United States going to contract? Is it going to expand? And from there, what we could do is try to predict corporate earnings growth, which is so critical, because one of the things that I think, and we've talked about this before. Oh, here's the trolley. I don't think I've ever showed you guys this. This is the free trolley that runs through Miami. There's also a free trolley in North Miami Beach. So if you don't have any money, there are free ways of transportation here in Miami. Also, the Metro Mover is technically free as well. Just thought I'd mention that. But if we get back to the basics, right? Forget all of the macro talk, forget all of the, monetary, forget all that for a second. If we go back to the very, very basics, a stock is probably going to go up, right, if the underlying business is performing well, if it has earnings growth, right? Earnings matter. If you think back, and here's the JW Marriott hotel. Now, I think somebody commented that this hotel is outdated. I've never been in here, but anyway. Now, if you go back to the fundamentals, and if you look at all of the greatest stock performances of our time, you'll notice that the companies produce ridiculous amounts of earnings. So if a stock, or a company, I should say, is projected to earn $25 a share, or $25 of earnings per share in 2024, and this year it's going to earn $10 a share, well, the stock is probably going to go up. So one of the things we could do is use these leading indicators, like the Institute for Supply Management, PMI numbers, to get an idea of the economic environment, if it's going to be conducive for positive corporate earnings. So that is going to drop tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. Yo, Brad's Brain is here. What's up? Sparks Carnival says Tom, McDonald's was down at 1.5% today. Their forward guidance warned of consumers slowing their spending. I didn't even get a chance to check out any of the earnings Now, did anybody see AMD's earnings? I think McDonald's reported, and also AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, which is a major semiconductor company, reported earnings. And I think they gave lousy forward guidance too, didn't they? Maybe Sparks Carnival knows, or maybe Dan Zhang. But team, the building that we are looking at now is the City National Bank building, or Miami Tower. And it is lit up extremely beautiful. Now, you guys know what I'm excited for. All the way down this street here, on the right-hand side, is the Aston Martin building. And supposedly, once it's complete, it is going to be lit up exactly like this, which is just going to make the Miami skyline that much better. Hey, John Lee's Snap reported too. So John, I got a notification and Snap supposedly bombed earnings. Is that correct? Or it's either their earnings were all right, but their forward guidance was horrible, as expected. Hey, Brad's Brain, what's up? Says, thanks, guys. Moving was a lot. Oh, yeah, Brad, you finally moved in, man. Any updates on how you like Texas? Hopefully the move went smooth. Kirby is here, what's up? Sparks Carnival says Snap is the big story of the day, in my opinion. Yeah, today was so crazy for me that I just haven't had time to look at a lot of it. But Snap is a pretty good, you could almost use it as a leading indicator in and of itself for advertising spending. Sparks Carnival says, Tom, AMD Q1 revenue is down 10%. Whoa, worse than consensus, but better than feared. What about their guidance? Did they guide well? All right, everybody, we are walking over the bridge. In the distance, you can see all of these lovely yachts and boats stacked up here. Christina says the JW Marriott needs repairs. They need new carpeting and furniture. Now, they must not be, I don't think you're the first person who said that about the hotel. And there's so many brand new hotels not only going up. Oh, team, you got to check this out. Look at all these fish down here. Get a load of this. You guys see that? Or is it, I think the camera may be too bad. Hold on, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you could see all the fish here. They're swimming around right here. Some of those guys are pretty big, right? Not bad. Hopefully you guys could see that. Nice. Hey, B. Smith is here. What's up? Good to see you. Whiskers is also, our home value went down over $150,000 this year, which sucks. Wow. Which part of the country are you in where you had that drastic of a hit to your equity? I would assume San Diego, California, potentially. Now, we were talking about Goldman Sachs actually came out with a report. I think maybe Dan Zhang or maybe Billy put it in the chat. And Goldman Sachs is predicting about a 15% decline in housing prices in San Diego, California, and Austin, Texas. Hey, Texas, good to see you. Welcome. John Lee's Snap earnings was in line, but guidance did not put out. Interesting. Now, this is the W Hotel and Tower here. Some of my favorite apartment / hotel in Miami is right there. Now, usually this is the season where we see dolphins jumping in and out of the water, so I'm going to be on the lookout too. It's a beautiful night. Wayne McKay is here. Says, are U.S. states lower their property taxes? Oh, you mean like as property values fall, will property taxes also go down? Well, look at all those fish over there, guys. Well, here's the thing. It's based on the assessed value of the home. And unfortunately, over the past year in the United States, oh, the bridge is going to go down. Hold that thought. I got to get out of here. because I don't want to be on the bridge when it opens. Oh, team, we got to hustle up, pal. All right, hold on a sec. All right, I think we're good now. I think we're a safe distance. I'm curious to see, let's stick around. Let's see what comes through here. Now, last time on the live stream, there was just like a little dinghy, like a little tugboat that went through. Hopefully there's something better. But here is a great view, guys, of the Aston Martin building. I cannot wait for this thing to be done. This thing is going to be absolutely fantastic. Hey, Al Baker's here. Says Tom, it's 75 degrees in Miami. It was gorgeous today, absolutely gorgeous. I took the scooter to South Beach. It was really nice down there too. But markets performed well today. All the major equity indices got a pretty nice bid. Check out the drawbridge going up here. So I just want to touch, because it's only going to be a short stream tonight, guys. I got to get up early. I got to catch a flight. Look at these guys in the balcony checking out the drawbridge going up too. So I got to tell you something. So in my neighborhood, there was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. Oh, check out this plane flying so low, man. That's awesome. So there was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. Oh, that's a pretty big. I wouldn't say it's the biggest shop, but it's definitely bigger than the one I got. Just kidding. But that thing is pretty cool. Hopefully, as we do these live streams down in Miami, that one massive boat will come through that has the huge helicopter on it. You guys remember that from last year? That thing was wild. Now, that boat is usually parked outside of the former FTX arena. I'm not sure what they're going to rename it due to the Sam Bankman-Fried scandal. But that boat is usually parked right there, and it has a literal helicopter on the top, which is just insane looking at. So anyway, I won't get distracted. There was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home about 2 blocks north of me that just sold for $465. Now, to give you an idea, that's like, I wouldn't say it's the uppermost range of the homes that sell in my neighborhood, but for this particular home, that's a pretty good price. I'm saying at pretty good price, I mean that's pretty expensive. It's a nice piece of property, right? I'm not going to say it's not a nice piece of property, but everything really needs to be redone in it. Same kitchen, probably from the 1990s. Definitely needs a new driveway, but it just goes to show, as we were talking about existing home sales and new home sales, I think in select markets, real estate is going for a premium still. I mean, I could tell you with absolute certainty the transactions here, at least in my neighborhood where I live here in Miami, is down significantly. I'm talking extremely significantly, but you know, you guys know I keep tabs on this all the time. I haven't really seen massive price reductions in these homes, you know, selling for, I think, what they should in normal times. I'll give you an example. In my community, if you go to Zillow or Redfin or, you know, anywhere that you look at homes, right? Some of these very small style Miami homes, the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, you know, ranch style, concrete slab, it's never been redone. Before the pandemic, guys, and I'm even gonna say, you know, 2015, 2016, these homes were selling for like $300,000. Maybe, you know, $280,000, depending on if the house really needed a lot of work. But now, you know, if you go to, here's one thing I really like to do. If you go to Zillow, okay, go to the sold section, and then you could adjust by the date. So for example, if you want to see all homes that were sold for the last 30 days, you could sort by that, the last 90 days, and so on and so on. And you can clearly see, and also, if you work in Excel a lot like I do, you could also export that data, and you could see just like a hockey stick chart that right as the pandemic started, the real estate prices just started to go northward, especially in places like Hollywood, Florida, Aventura, Pinecrest, Miami, as well as North Miami Beach. If you're talking about single family homes, it has just been insane. So I haven't really seen home prices decline too much here, but I have seen the transactions, or the real estate transactions, pretty much grind to a halt. So instead of maybe 30 homes selling per month, there'll be only 2. But those particular homes will still sell, not at a crazy price, but still up over 100% than what it was just the last 2 years. Any of you guys seeing anything similar in your neck of the woods where you are? Sparks Carnival says exponential acceleration in real estate. Zozo Bob says Miami real estate is very different from national markets though. That's true, Zozo Bob. You're right. Now, Zozo Bob is correct. Now, if you look at, what I like to do is look at downturns, right? I think the most notable real estate downturn in our lifetime, let me just say my lifetime, has been the 2008 financial crisis. And if you look at the specific markets that corrected the most during the financial crisis or during the Great Recession, it was places like Tampa, Florida, Miami, Florida, Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada. Places in Arizona really got hit very hard, because back then, right, in 08, leading up to 08, a lot of the people who were buying real estate, who were buying homes in the state of Florida, the state of Arizona, were doing so for speculative purposes. There really wasn't that, I would say, I don't want to be mean or insulting, there wasn't as great of a job opportunity, so people would move here to get, high-paying jobs like they would do in New York or in Silicon Valley. So during the 08 financial crisis, a lot of these homes went back to the banks because people were buying second and third homes. Where I'm seeing a little bit of a difference now, and maybe I'm biased because I own a piece of property here, so disclaimer there. Over the last 6 years, I'd say really a core 6 years, we're starting to finally see some very lucrative and very high-paying jobs come to Miami, Florida. A lot of Wall Street firms are coming here, a lot of big tech companies are coming here to Southern Florida, and even in the Panhandle as well, which not only has brought more people here, but the people that are coming here tend to have, solid 9-to-5 jobs, and maybe that's changing the dichotomy a little bit. Who knows? I still think real estate prices should come down a little bit. We'll see. Al Baker says Tom, Hollywood has slowed down a little bit for sure. So Al, I'm not sure, I think you may live in Hollywood, I forget. But I was talking to my friend, and I'm not super familiar with Hollywood, but supposedly Hollywood has really changed for the better. There used to be some really kludgy areas of Hollywood, Florida, and I guess it's being built back up. RP McMurphy, what's up? Says back in action. Good stream so far. Good to see you. We are outside of 600 Biscayne. We are actually going to go to marry Brickell Village tonight. We are walking down the Wall Street of Miami. RP's has seen about 10% discount right now. Sabrina Fair says, I love Hollywood. Ramp 5 says, I thought I saw a report a couple weeks ago where one of the larger U.S. home builders stated they were experiencing a 67% cancellation rate on new home construction contracts. I believe so, but home builders have actually been performing very well. Now, here's what I'll say about home building companies. I think they've done an okay job with managing their inventory, because take a look at building permits. Here's another leading economic indicator that we tend to look at is new permits for homes. And permits are absolutely falling off a cliff. So one of the things, and I was talking to one of my buddies who is really, really big in real estate development, and he said when it comes to the home building side of the house, single family, duplex, triplex, everybody is still so scarred and so bruised and battered and almost like they have PTSD from the 2008 financial crisis, that they've been managing inventories a lot better. So maybe that's why we haven't really seen a huge flood of supply come onto the market, right? If you look at the data, we are actually underbuilding in the United States as it comes to housing. I would say the biggest places in the United States where there's a major housing problem would have to be New York, right? New York City, in and around LA, even here in Miami, it's getting to be quite crazy. So I think, just the broad swath of the 2008 financial crisis has really led companies and people and developers to not overextend as much. I don't know. Thoughts there? Brad's Brains is hoping it continues downward. I'm buying next year. That's a good point. Look, if history is a guide, home prices should continue to drop. Should. Doesn't mean they have to, but they should, right? Especially tomorrow. We're going to hear from the Federal Reserve, the conclusion of the FOMC meeting. We're going to get another 25 basis point rate hike, probably. So that's going to bring the Fed funds target rate. Oh, I think that's a McLaren right there. The only reason why I know that is because of our good friend Dan Zhang. Supposedly it's a very expensive and fast car. Anyway, this is going to be the one Brickell office tower, which is going to be ridiculous. But interest rates go up, that tends to kill demand, which it has, right? Sales transactions have ground to a halt. If this time last year, if you were looking to buy a home, you're going to get a 3% 30-year fixed. Now it's close to 7 or 6.5. That means your monthly payments are up 100%. People can't afford that. But I think the thing that's going to spark the price declines is just we need a glut of supply to come on the market. And I don't know what's going to be the triggering event to kick that off. I'm not too sure. Hey, Austin City Limits, what's up? This is 25 basis point rate hike tomorrow, probably. Keith's McLaren over 200 miles an hour. That's nuts. Brendan O'Brien's is not the pressure on the sell side. There was in the past, though, less variable rates. That's also a good point Brendan O'Brien makes. Now, one of the main things, to Brendan's point, that helped crush housing in the great financial crisis was everybody was suckered in. And I think it's appropriate to say suckered in. I think there was a lot of nefarious activity from a lot of mortgage bankers. Not everybody, right? I don't want to paint everybody with the broad brush. But I think there were some unethical practices of duping people into adjustable rate mortgages or ARMs. So when interest rates started going up, people were getting hit with massive balloon payments on their mortgages. And I don't know anybody who's bought a house with an adjustable rate mortgage. Maybe that's just me. I would never buy a home with an adjustable rate mortgage. I think that'd be interesting to ask in the chat. Does anybody you know, or maybe do you, have you ever purchased a home? I'm talking about like single family home. If we talk about commercial real estate, a lot of these are adjustable rates. But has anybody you know have bought recently a home with an adjustable rate? Julia M says never. That's a good point. Brendan makes a good point. So maybe that's another reason why the default rates probably aren't going to creep up as high as they once did. Dan says, Tom, I wish they would increase a full point tomorrow. Who knows? We'll see. I doubt they will. Hey, Marcelo Gill is here. What's up? Says, hey everybody. What's up, Marcelo? Hope you're well. Abdullah is here. Mohammed, welcome. Zach Drew says, it's probably not a bad time to get one right now. Oh, you're talking about an adjustable rate? I don't know. I think it's just too much risk for me. I think they may be doing construction here. We'll probably have to go around the block. Yeah, they are. We'll go around the block. Team, I showed you guys this vacant lot a couple streams ago here in Brickell, and this is going to be big stuff. I'm talking big stuff, okay? Right here is the lot where one Brickell City Center will be built. Now, last week, they finally filed the permits and got approval for demolition. This is going to be the tallest office tower in the state of Florida. So think about all of these tall buildings right here. It is going to tower above these buildings. Now, they say that construction is going to finish in 2026. I highly doubt that. But we'll see. Zozo Bob says the Stripe building will be demolished. Really? Oh, this one you're talking about? Oh yeah, I can imagine that, yeah. Zozo Bob, any updates on, I was gonna ask you, thanks for reminding me, inadvertently, but I was gonna ask you about One Bayfront Park. So if anybody remembers to the very beginning of this live stream, so right as I walk out the doors of the office, right, my office, 200 Southeast Financial Center, if you look right across the street, there's that really nasty looking building. This is Brickell Key down here, by the way, but we don't have time for that today. We're gonna head down and over. So there's a really, really run down, like really nasty looking building. It doesn't look good. I think that building is set to be demolished as well. There's no tenants in it, it's vacant, doesn't look good. Any updates on when that's gonna be demolished? Because in that location, I think, is going to be where they are going to build One Bayfront Plaza, which that thing is going to be ridiculous as well. Billy's best thing to do now, in my opinion, to find an SBO, open a seller, financing. Yeah, I mean, if it were me, and everybody has different opinions on things, and I think I said this on the last stream, if you are looking to buy a home right now, right, if you're in the market, especially a first-time home buyer, I think you have a asymmetric trade here, potentially, right? Now, nothing is guaranteed, but every hiking cycle, literally everyone throughout history, has concluded with a decline in the price of real estate. Now, I'm not calling for Armageddon, like 2008, where people are going to lose their homes and property values are going to crash 50%. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think we could see in select markets prices decline 10 to 15, maybe 20 to 25%. So what I would do is look at the neighborhood where you really want to buy, right? Your dream neighborhood, this is where you want to buy, the location's great. And I would negotiate with a landlord to rent somewhere for 6 months. This way you're not locked into a super long-term lease, and your trade there is to say, okay, in 6 months, home prices could very well, there's a very high probability that home prices will continue to decline over the next 6 months. If it happens and we start to get significant price declines in housing, well, then maybe you want to renew that lease for another 6 months and take the bet to say, okay, it's a great neighborhood, I like the neighborhood, now I'm used to it. I'm going to rent for another 6 months for the full year, wait for prices to drop a little bit more, maybe have more aggressive negotiating tactics as well, and then buy, and then you get a better price. Now, usually in my view, I wouldn't say something like that, but I think there's just such asymmetry here. I mean, all of the indicators that we've been talking about here on Walks on Wall Street point to lower housing costs. National Association of Realtors, existing home sales, it's been 12 months in a row of declining and decelerating sales. The only thing that we really need is just for some supply to come on the market for prices to come down. I think that may be what I would do. I think it's a pretty good bet. Hey, Teresa Diaz is here from California. What's up? Good to see you, Teresa. Hey, Ryan Beck, what's up? Good to see you. Pineapple Water says, if I were an owner, I would never agree to that. Rich Child 9 says, we have inclement weather here in Texas, icy roads, and we've been working remote. That is definitely best. Please stay safe, stay off the roads. Now, they've been installing these things here all throughout the city of Miami. It's almost like they're copying New York. Remember they built these all throughout New York City? And pretty much every single one of them in New York now is either vandalized or broken or turned into a homeless encampment. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. Steph UH says, I remember all those short sales. Gary Carpenter, good to see you. Yeah, John. So here, I'll give you a quick story. There's a company called Transit Wireless in New York City. I think they're actually in some financial trouble now. I don't know that for sure, but I used to do a lot of work with them to provide bandwidth and connectivity throughout the subways. And a lot of these terminals here, guys, these ones, now these are new to Miami. They've been in New York for years. You can get internet access on them, free internet, but you know, I think you guys could put two and two together what some people were searching on there. So they had to lock it down with an MDM to make sure that people weren't watching things on there. Yo, Kanar Bar is here. What's up? Welcome. Yeah, Photos from Around New York says the company in New York City went bankrupt, I think, which is crazy. I read something about that, and Transit Wireless used to be a very big customer. Very big customer. This is the Panorama Tower. I think, and maybe Zozo Bob or Billy could back me up here, I think this is the tallest apartment building in Miami so far, right? I think the what is it called? I'm blanking on the name. Waldorf Astoria is going to be taller than this, but as of right now, this is the tallest one. That's it. Zozo Bob, tallest residential south of Manhattan. 10-4. It looks really nice, right above the Florida International University. Does look kind of tall there. Hey, Dusty Cole, what's up? Good to see you, Dusty. Michael Joseph says Caterpillar taking a hit, surprisingly. Yeah, well, I mean, Caterpillar and Lincoln Electric, right? So CAT, obviously, ticker symbol CAT, and Lincoln Electric, LECO. These have been two leaders, and they've just been breaking out new record highs, all-time record highs, almost every day. So you have extension there from the major moving averages. So, I mean, for these things to pull back, you know, just as long as they don't break their 50 on major volume, I think they should be good. A lot of the Chinese equities are pulling back too. Pineapple Water says, Tom, I owned 4 houses in Surfside, and I was offered the rent-to-own idea, and I wouldn't ever commit to that, but if you can get the worst house in the best location, you can't go wrong. So I got a question for you, Pineapple Water, because Surfside, first and foremost, talk about a gorgeous, gorgeous neighborhood. Now, I posted a standalone video on Walks on Wall Street of riding the Vespa through the town of Surfside. I think you guys would love it. Please check it out. Now, from 2000, this is when my home search started, and so here's where my question comes in. I was looking at property in Surfside about 2015. However, after doing my diligence and things like that, it floods a lot there, does it not? And I was working with this one realtor that it just was not a good realtor. But there are some very good realtors out there. The one I work with now is fantastic. Talk about a rock star. But he goes to me, he's like, oh, don't worry about the flooding. You just get flood insurance. I'm like, yeah, no. That's not good advice. Yes, obviously get flood insurance, but you shouldn't just totally disregard zones that tend to flood more than others just because you have flood insurance. That is really horrible, horrible advice. So if anybody is looking, right, let's say if you want to buy single family or something in Southern Florida, the key before anything else, you have to go check the zoning, okay? Check the flood maps. It is so critical. And what I would even do, right, because if you think about it like this, if you're buying a piece of property, duplex, triplex, for most people, this is the biggest purchase in your entire life. You're gonna drop $500,000, okay, or less, but it's a lot of money. You gotta do the diligence. So what I would even do is I would fly down here to Southern Florida, specifically around times when it was gonna be very, very rainy, and I would stay in Airbnbs in the communities that I was thinking about buying to see how the streets react to extremely heavy rains. So I'm talking about downpouring rains. And right around Normandy Shores, once you go over Normandy Shores to about 72nd Street and Collins Avenue, that place fills up. I mean, all of the storefronts flood there. Surfside floods a lot, so definitely pay attention there. But Pineapple Water, have your properties ever flooded there? I am definitely interested to hear that. Yeah, Pineapple Water says don't disregard Mother Nature. I agree. Explode V2 says, Tom, I messed up credit a year ago, but now I'm back on my feet with a good job. How do you think I can get a new apartment with bad credit? Well, I would just fix your credit first. I mean, here's the thing, you have time, and don't be in a rush to do anything, right? There is no rush. Again, we just talked about, potential big asymmetric trade here. I think interest rates are going up. I think property values could go down. So I would just get really good at your job, do the right thing, get back on your feet, and just make sure you pay your credit card off on time and make sure you pay your bills off on time. And in a year or two, I think you're going to have really good credit. Yeah, Richard Vogel says, yeah, that was awful advice. Agreed. Al Baker says, train stations are really nice in New York City. Hopefully they'll stay okay. Interesting. Gary Carpenter, good to see you. I'm just trying to read the chat. We're still on the horrible streaming software, by the way. Hey, Prince Isis here, what's up? Christina Karth says, I love living St. Lauderdale by the Sea. Interesting. Palos Adventures says, is hurricane insurance affordable? I mean, define affordable. Now, a big problem here, specifically in Miami, is insurance, property insurance, homeowners insurance. Very expensive. I think my homeowner's insurance is over $3,000 a year. Now, it's strange because I actually just got a notice that it went down because I think FEMA adjusted a flood zone here somewhere. But still, it's crazy. I mean, over $3,000 for homeowner's insurance a year? Guys, that's nuts. That's nuts, man. Points Traveler says, do you ever ride the No, I haven't. I haven't taken the monorail, and I haven't taken, what is the other one? The Bright Line. Maybe we'll have to do that on a stream one night. Joe Driver, what's up? John says, what's more, insurance or the property tax? It depends on the property, but I mean, if you're buying a home in Florida, your property taxes are going to be, I should say in Miami, if you're buying a home in Miami, your property taxes are going to be more than the insurance. Property taxes went up again. That's because the appraisal values have gone sky high. But still, even though my property taxes are really high, they're still less than what they would be if I bought a place on Long Island. Look at this, True Barista's Coffee. This is kind of a cool place. Cool setting on the outside. What? Willie C says, Tom, my home insurance is $2,000 a year in Missouri. I thought it said $20,000. I could barely read the chats because it's so small. Hey, Sister Surround, thank you so much for the $2 donation. It says, hey Tom, how did your driveway installation go? It's going good. They poured the concrete today. That's why we didn't stream last night. I had to be up early. The contractors tend to do work here very early for obvious reasons, because the sun is ripping at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if they can pour the concrete at like 7:30 in the morning, they finish the job at noon. They don't have to, cook in the sun. So I'm like, that's a good idea. But it's coming along good, guys. It's coming along really, really well. I will be posting some before and after photos, but thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Richard Vogel says, Tom, we pay $14,000 in property tax in Suffolk County. Yeah, I mean, Richard, that sounds about right, my friend. Now, so here's what I was looking to do, but quickly I'll give it a little bit of an explanation on this building. This is one of the SLS Lux Towers. This is actually my favorite one because of the very interesting and very unique balcony architectural design here. So every single balcony is slightly off-centered than the last. It almost looks, I don't know how to describe it, but it's really interesting. It's kind of cool. Hey, Tariq Khan says, I'm looking at going from $3,000 to $23,000 a year in property taxes, no capital gains taxes though. Wow, dude. That's wild. Yeah, it's, you know what's the most painful thing ever, guys? Is looking online and seeing that some of my neighbors pay like $900 in property taxes a year, and we have like the same home, and I'm paying, I think, over $6,000 now. That's like the most painful thing ever. Anyway, I mean, look, you got to pay taxes. You got to pay taxes. So I shouldn't complain about it. There's two things that are guaranteed in this life. One of which being death, hopefully later than sooner, and taxes. You got to pay taxes. So, but some people that have the homestead, right, that have been living here for a long time or have been native to Southern Florida for 60, 50 years, they're paying like $900. Oh well. Tariq Khan. Okay. Interesting. Abby once says, are they elderly perhaps and they have an exemption? Yeah, so here in the state of Florida, you can homestead. So I believe it's on your primary residence, right, everybody? I think you can put in the homestead or a homestead on your primary residence, and it puts a cap on the amount that your property taxes can go up for the year. This is the Paramount Tower again. Now here's what happened with me. I'll tell you guys my exact story, because I get so many emails about people saying, hey, I'm looking to move to New York, I'm looking to move to Miami, what is your insight? So I'll tell you what happened with me. So in order to homestead, if you purchase the property and you file for a homestead, it goes into effect the next year. Does that make sense? So here's an example. When I bought my property in 2021, it's been over a year now. I can't even believe that. I paid about $4,100
for my property taxes, right? I got approved for the homestead, but it goes into effect the next year. And since property prices went up like crazy, the appraisal values gone up like crazy. So I re-rate to the higher appraisal values. That makes sense? So my property taxes from the first year went from like 4,000 now to I think over 7 it may be. I gotta look. It's definitely over 6. It's 100% over 6,000. So just keep that into consideration. Yes, 100% you should homestead, right? Especially if you're gonna buy in Florida, do it, but just don't be surprised. You have to really do your diligence because it kicks into effect for the next year. Because when you buy the house, obviously my house well, maybe not obviously, I don't think I told you guys, it's an older house, right? I think it was built in 1951 or 50. Anyway, and so obviously when you sell that home, the taxes are going to absolutely balloon, like monumentally, right? It just goes back to what we were talking about, where if you look up your specific neighborhood and somebody has lived in that neighborhood forever, they could be paying, $900 because they've lived there for so long and they have that homestead. But once you change the name of the person who's on the house, so you buy or sell the house, well, the taxes are going to re-rate and they're going to go up like crazy. But here's what I will say. You guys know me. I'm an optimist, sometimes more than I should be, and some people get pissed off that I'm so optimistic. But here's an optimistic thing. And I was thinking about this the other day. Now, one of the major critiques in the state of Florida, and in Miami as well, I would just say maybe the Miami area, is that the public schools are maybe not the best, right? And I'm not too educated on this subject. I don't have kids. I don't send my kids to school. I don't have kids. But that has been a big deterrent for people moving down here. So here's what I was thinking, right? You guys know I come from Long Island, where I think we have some of the best schools, I think in the entire country, right? I mean, Oceanside School District, I think Jericho, some of the best public schools in the entire nation. Now, think about all of the people who have moved to the state of Florida over the last, 2 years, right, including myself. The tax revenues must be have absolutely ballooned. So looking on the brighter side of things, yeah, everybody's paying higher property taxes, but maybe it's going to be good for, the next generation of kids that are trying to get educated in the state of Florida. More tax revenue, more tax dollars means more investment in public schools, more investment in education. So maybe the schools are going to get better, and when education is better, that means job creation is better, entrepreneurship increases. So maybe to look on the bright side of things, am I paying an arm and a leg for property taxes here? But maybe the Miami-Dade public school system, and I don't know anything about it, by the way, this is just a disclaimer, I'm totally ignorant to the, I went to New York State public schools, I didn't go here in Miami, but maybe all this new tax revenue will do some significant good to the schools here in Florida. I don't know. All right, anyway, this is a very good restaurant here. It is an Argentine restaurant. Very good steaks here. But now we are approaching the Brickell Village neighborhood. And for a Tuesday night, there's actually some pretty decent amount of people out here. Hey, Dusty Cole, what's up? Dontella says and in liberal school districts, more gender studies? Huh? I don't really understand. Gymless Fitness says, hey Tom, do you think all areas of Southern Florida are good to invest for short-term rentals or avoid at all costs? I think there could be a bubble, a little bit of a bubble for people that are looking to just mainly speculate in short-term rentals. I'll tell you this, and I really, really do my diligence. I would think more than most. not trying to sound arrogant, but if your sole, okay, I'll just say, I'll be blunt. If your sole investment thesis to buy in Southern Florida is for short-term rentals, I don't think that's a good thesis, because follow the trend here, okay? I think that state governments as well as local governments are really going to crack down on short-term rentals. I saw this happen in New York City. You know, in some of the luxury high-rise apartments in New York, people were doing short-term rentals and the city really cracked down. I think South Beach, you may not even be able to be allowed to do Airbnb or Vrbo in some places. So I don't know. I would say the most important thing if you're looking to make an investment in a short-term rental is really do your due diligence on the local municipality, their laws, their rules, their regulations about short-term rentals. Because a lot of people, you know, they'll just see everybody making a killing with short-term rentals and they'll just go buy something without doing any diligence. And then the next thing you know, legislation gets passed where you can't do it. So, I mean, always have a backup plan for the property. You know, maybe what you could do is house hack it, right? So maybe you live in one of the bedrooms, you rent some of the other bedrooms out, or you buy a duplex or a triplex, live in one side, rent the other side out. But you really have to be careful, in my view, especially now with the local laws, especially in the state of Florida around short-term rentals. And I would also make that statement to New York as well, for New York City. Andrew O'Donovan says, have you ever been to the Versace mansion? I think we may have walked past it the other night, didn't we? I think we may have walked past it the other night. Yeah, points traveler, I wish. I wish, man. All right, let's cross the street here. I always get messed up when I walk in Brickell Village because everything is a stop sign. I keep thinking it's like traffic lights. So you have to just rely on the vehicles to stop, and I don't really trust any of the drivers here in Florida. Ryan Beck says, Dallas County short-term rental, you have to pay a 7% hotel occupancy tax now. You see, I mean, things are changing so rapidly. So to Ryan's point, here's what I think happened. I think that Airbnb was such a disruptor that governments just weren't ready for it. I think we could agree on that. I honestly think governments, like the rate of disruption from short-term rentals and the explosion of it, like governments just didn't know how to regulate it and everybody was caught off guard. So yeah, I think it's going to be a mess in some select places. So look, you know, I think just make sure, you know, if you're going to be a real estate investor, you got to run the numbers. If the numbers work, you know, I would run the numbers as a short-term rental. I would run the numbers as renting it out to long-term tenants as well. You should run the numbers again and again and again on every single type of investment scenario is what I'd say. Because you never know what could happen. You never know. You never know if there's going to be, I mean, look what COVID taught us. The government could shut you down overnight. Think about all the people that had many, many Airbnbs during COVID. They were forced to shut down. It was a mess. So, you know, take that into consideration. And I'm not saying you should agree with the lockdowns or not agree with it. The point I'm trying to make is doing due diligence hasn't been more important for an investor ever than now. Especially in the real estate business after what COVID taught us. Hey, E. Monica B is here. What's up? Good to see you. Penelope is here. What's up, Penelope? Hope all is well in the beautiful state of Tennessee. Wow, we've already been streaming for an hour. Time flies. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. And hit the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams about 5 days a week between New York City and Miami, Florida. And we'd love for you guys to join us as always. Hey, Elliott Wave Reviews says, hey Tom, who are your tenants? American tourists, students, or foreigners? So it depends every time. One time I rented to a family where I rented the entire place out, and I think the husband was able to work remote, and instead of taking a months-long vacation and paying for a hotel room, they wanted the kids to be able to run around and play in the driveway in the front yard. So having 3 bedrooms was a little bit better for privacy. I have 1 room for an office, the Florida room. But I think I'm thinking about doing my own thing, or maybe creating my own website and targeting traveling nurses and tech workers that are able to work remotely, and maybe just have a site that is targeted towards those individuals, and maybe run targeted Facebook ads to try to cut out the middleman, which would be Airbnb or Vrbo, and try to broker the transaction myself. I don't know, I'm thinking about doing a lot of stuff. I just think that is I think that's a market that not a lot of people are thinking about right now. Traveling nurses, tech workers that are able to work remote from wherever. There's some companies, and I think Salesforce may do this now. Salesforce, ticker symbol CRM. I think they'll sponsor their employees to be able to work remotely anywhere they want for 1 month out of the year. So what if there was a way to target those people to say, hey, $3,500 for the month, your company is going to pay for it anyway, and you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house to live in that's 2.5 miles from the ocean. I don't know. Maybe it won't work. I got to see. I got to see.
I'd rather buy somewhere like Chicago.
But to your point, I will say this. And this is just a personal experience, I found it very difficult and the same amount of effort to rent on Airbnb for a weekend than it was to rent out the entire place for a month. Because I had to clean the place. It was just too much turnover and I just couldn't do it. And, I think I've also said this. Generally speaking, if you can afford to rent out an entire house for a month, the tenant is probably going to be of better quality, right? I'm not trying to discriminate or be mean or anything. I'm just, I would rather rent to, a family with maybe 2 kids. Generally speaking, they're probably more responsible. They'll take care of the property, maybe. So I don't know. I'm just trying to mitigate the risk as much as possible there. Oh, look at that beautiful. I think it's a puppy too, maybe about a year old. Golden Retriever dogs are probably, I think Golden Retrievers are the best looking puppies. And then probably a Beagle, and then a Yellow Lab. Yellow Lab and then Chocolate Lab, all of them. Probably, I would say those 3 breed of dogs are probably the best. When they're young, when they're puppies, at least. Yeah, Steph UH says, Tom, good idea renting to traveling nurses. My son is a nurse and wants to invest in rental properties as well. And look, this is my first one, so I'm no guru, right? I'm trying to figure it out as I go too. I only have 1 property, so I'm figuring it out as I go too. Hey, Brent is here, says hello from Latvia. Thank you for joining. And good to see you. Team, unfortunately we do got to cut the live stream a little bit short tonight. I got to be up very early. I got to get a flight. I'm flying back to New York, but I'm only going to be there for a couple days, and then I'm coming right back to Miami. So on February 2nd, for those of you that want to know, I was invited to attend the closing bell ceremony at the New York Stock Exchange on February 2nd, so Thursday. And I am extremely grateful for that and extremely blown away, very thankful So thank you for that. Yeah, so if you want to watch the closing bell ceremony, you probably won't be able to see me, but the company, ticker symbol ELA, will be ringing the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange. And the CEO of the company was so kind and so gracious to invite me to attend the ceremony. So I'm definitely going to go. I mean, guys, if somebody is so kind to offer you that opportunity, you got to fire up the plane and go, my friend. So I've never been to the floor of the New York Stock Exchange before. Obviously, you guys know, unfortunately, after 9/11, they closed it down to tourists, so I could never actually take a look at the trading floor. So I am super stoked. I'm like extremely excited about it. I'm going to be able to see the floor of the New York Stock Exchange and watch the company ring the bell. So that is what we will be doing on February 2nd. And then I will be flying back to Miami, Florida. So everybody, thank you so much for coming out and enjoying the beautiful sights and sounds of Miami, Florida. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow's a big day. It is the first day of the month, which means the Institute for Supply Management will be releasing their PMI numbers. Also, it is the conclusion of the FOMC meeting. We're probably going to get about a 25 basis point rate hike, which should bring the Fed funds target to about 4.5 to 4.75 of a percentage point. So extremely excited for the major volatility in the market that will be happening tomorrow. Man, the loud noise is so obnoxious, man. Not a big fan of the loud noise. All right, team, we'll see you tomorrow. If you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we will see you next time. Thamer A, Gary Carpenter, Mike C, Fed Funds, Steph UH, Hawaii, Meld, Marcelo Gill, Joan K, Dusty Cole. We will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much.
Have you seen this guy here?
I think I've seen him before once.
Where?
I don't know.
His name is DeMarcus Cousins, also known as Gideon. He has been missing for about 2.5 months now. He hasn't uploaded. We're trying to get him back.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I hope he comes back.
Are you live right now? Does your live